Hello viewers and welcome to another match of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest. My name is Mitch and I am the Hive Tyrant. Today we've got a game sent in by friend of the channel John Gobeil. To the right, member of the Tactical Squad podcast, we have Jon Yeo playing as Ragnar Blackmane, and on the left we have a gentleman named Aaron Celovsky, whom instead is playing as Broderick Worr. Looks like at planet number 1, Aaron throws out a copy of the 3-cost Captain Marcus, 2 command icons to attack, as well as 3 hit points, and as an action limit once per phase, you can sacrifice an Astra Militarum faction unit at his planet in order to exhaust an enemy non-warlord at that same planet. Our current planet number 1 under contest is going to be Taurus, which rewards its victor should they have a lower unit count than their opponent with their choice of either 3 cards or 3 resources, so pay close attention to players' unit counts as we're moving through our opening deploy phase here. At planet number 1, Ragnar plays down a copy of his signature army unit, the Blackmane Sentinel, 2 cost, 1 command icon to attack, 2 hit points, and it's relocatable. Upon Ragnar being commit to a planet, you've got the optional reaction of shifting your Sentinel to that same planet, and it looks as though we've got a second copy down at planet number 4. And the trick with those units is if you do decide to relocate them during the command phase, you potentially forego winning command at the planet that they were up until that moment sitting upon. But at planet number 3 on Broderick's side of the table, we've got a copy of Tallarn Raiders, and in fact we see a second copy at planet number 5. It's going to be a 1-cost, 1 command icon unit with no attack, 2 hit points, the soldier trait, and furthermore it gets a +2 attack value bonus provided it's sitting at the same planet as a warlord. Broderick Worr, of course, grants each and every Astra Militarum faction unit he controls with a +1 attack value bonus provided it's sitting at a green strongpoint planet. But definitely what's not working out well for Broderick is it looks as though only our first 2 planets have got those green strongpoint icons, but we could see a summary execution change planet number 3 from red and blue to also be green, and then that could be an easy win for Broderick through red material type icons. But both of our players are deciding where exactly they want to send their warlords. Note at planet number 1 we've got a copy of Broderick's signature army unit, the Anxious Infantry Platoon, 2 cost, 1 command icon, 3 attack, 3 hit points. It's yet another soldier, so it's Elysian Assault Team eligible, and more importantly it's got this forced reaction where at the end of each and every combat round you've got to invest an additional resource in that unit or otherwise retreat it. But of course Broderick confers a nice defensive bonus to each and every unit at green planets where it can't retreat and it cannot be routed, so it's fantastic in working around that effect. At planet number 3, Ragnar's got a copy of his 2 command icon, 2 cost Sanctioned Psyker. It's a 0/4, lovely bit of a command unit there, and it looks as though what would be a desirable destination for Ragnar. Ragnar could, like our unit count is going to be currently 5 for War and 4 for Ragnar, but the trick is if Ragnar were to somehow show up at planet number 1, that would be a huge uphill battle for him. But if he were to end up winning that planet, it's possible that he might not trigger Taurus. He would have to relocate probably both of those Blackmane Sentinels to planet number 1. If he lost a couple units, if Broderick lost more units, it's just always seems like it's so complicated when Taurus is your very first planet. But another reasonable option for Ragnar might be to go to planet number 5, try to snipe off that Tallarn Raider, and then if the Anxious Infantry Platoon and Captain Marcus end up in War's HQ, Aatrox Prime could be a fantastic opportunity for damaging the AM Warlord and damaging those 2 AM units as well. War, conversely, might be incentivized to go to planet number 3 to kind of shut down that Sanctioned Psyker. War and the Tallarn Raiders might be able to outright kill it. It looks like War actually goes to planet number 1, which is pretty interesting. I guess War, had he tried to kill one of those Blackmane Sentinels, would have run the possibility that Indomitable could have been used. We could have seen Drop Pod Pod Assault, and Broderick Worr definitely wants to avoid getting bloodied, because if that happens, he basically crumples. But planet number 1 is going to be a card and a resource to the left for Aaron. Planet number 2 is going to be a card to the right for John. Planet number 3 is going to be a card and a resource to the right for John. Planet number 4 is another couple of resources for Ragnar, and planet number 5 is going to be a card and a resource to the left for Broderick Worr. So we're going to see combats break out at planet number 1 and planet number 3, but our unit count for Ragnar is going to be 4, and our unit count for Broderick is looking to be 5. So Broderick is going to be able to capture Taurus. That's going to be a red and a green planet type icon added to his victory display, but unfortunately he's not going to be able to trigger that battle ability there. So Ragnar takes a swing at planet number 3. That's going to be a dead copy of Tallarn Raiders. If we would have seen a shield from Broderick, something like Crushing Blow could have easily finished that unit, but all the same, we could have potentially seen a shield just to try to get a couple of points of damage on Ragnar and then allow for that Tallarn Raiders to retreat. It looks as though John is going to be our player with initiative. They've kind of got a strange Necron-themed first planet token, and it looks as though it's asymmetrical enough to indicate that our Space Marine player is presumably having initiative, but I would imagine we'll be finding that out rather quickly in some sort of, two warlords at the same planet type situation, which is certainly something Broderick wants to avoid. But it looks like we indeed saw Karnath last turn trigger and fire Aatrox Prime, because note, the platoon, Marcus, and Broderick Worr all have 1 point of damage placed upon them. At planet number 1, looks like things are going to get pretty exciting. That's going to be blocking off a green strong point possessing planet. We've got a copy of the Honored Librarian, kind of a Space Marine unit that's risen in popularity, kind of fallen off in popularity, but it's still monumentally powerful in the right context, and against the right deck, and against a war deck, it's certainly a very formidable unit. But 3 cost, 4 attack, 2 hit points, 1 command icon, provided you've got another unit at that planet not named Honored Librarian. It cannot be directly targeted by attacks. And then in Broderick Worr's HQ, monumentally powerful support there. That's going to be the 0 cost limited keyword Troop Transport, where you can either generate a Guardsman token at target planet at the cost of sacrificing it, or if that targeted planet has one of those sought-after green strongpoint icons, you instead generate 2 tokens and their soldier trait, and thanks to Broderick, they're going to be attacking for 2 if they are at a green planet. But planet number 1, things continue to heat up, because we've now got a copy of Rattling Deadeye, played by the Astra Militarum aligned Ragnar Blackmane. It's going to be able to attack for 1 cost, 1 hit point, ranged keyword, and 1 command icon as well. Planet number 2, we've got a Sanctioned Psyker and a Iron Guard Recruits sitting opposite one another, so that Recruits is another 2 cost, 2 command icon, 1 to conscript units. And let us see where exactly our warlords decide to go. We've got a lone wolf at our new planet number 5, Yavarin, that planet that forces both players to put a unit from their hand directly into play into their HQ, and the lone wolf is one of our newest Space Marine units. It's 3 cost, 1 command icon, 3/3, and you can exhaust it in order to move it to the same planet as an enemy warlord, provided you do not have any additional units at that planet. And that is an action, so that could be pretty great in combination with Drop Pod Assault and any number of other effects like that. But let us think for a moment, where exactly is Ragnar going to go? If Ragnar, well done, I guess I was going to say, if Ragnar can manage to pin down Broderick, that's definitely going to increase the probability that he's going to be able to, I guess, like, if he can bloody the Warlord, that's going to go all the way good for Ragnar and all the way bad for Broderick. So Ragnar is going to be able to trigger his reaction to deal 2 points of damage to target unit at that planet. I think if it were me, it would be a really difficult decision between, I guess, Broderick himself and Captain Marcus and the Anxious Infantry platoon, but it looks like we saw a copy of Primal Howl being used, so that's the first reaction. Again, John's got initiative. He throws out Primal Howl. That's going to be 3 cards drawn, and generally you want to use your Primal Howl prior to Ragnar's reaction, just in case you end up drawing a large number of crushing blows, because 3 crushing blows and no shields, which would be terrible, would have been a bloodied Broderick right there. But that's going to be 2 points of damage to Broderick. Will we see either copy of Blackmane Sentinel moved? Looks like we indeed do. I'm a little bit curious as to why we didn't see the Blackmane Sentinel at planet number 1 being moved to planet number 2 first, because it looks like, I can't quite recall if it was planet 3 or 4 that Jon was moving his unit from. If it was planet 3, then he wasn't winning command anyways, and then that's fine. But if it was planet number 4, which I can't recall if it was, then he'd go from, tie to his opponent is drawing a card in a resource. But planet number 1 is going to be a card to the right for Ragnar. Planet number 2, because of the presence of that Blackmane Sentinel, is going to be a card in a resource to the right for Jon, because, again, command struggles were not taken care of yet. And that is going to be a hell of a thing. That is going to be Inspirational Fervor played at planet number 1. And that is going to allow Jon the opportunity to relocate 2 of his army units from having won a battle at a green strongpoint possessing planet to a additional planet. So Jon picks up 1 planet type icon of each color, and now he's got his Honored Librarian and his Rattling Deadeye sitting at planet number 2. And it's just a damn bit of a shame that that Blackmane Sentinel got swept up into his HQ, just because during the following combat round it's going to be showing up exhausted. But this is absolutely fantastic for Ragnar. This is exactly what he wants to see, because as is abundantly clear, we've not only got the Rattling Deadeye that can attack for 1, throw a point of damage onto Broderick Worr, but, okay, I was going to say Captain Marcus ends up sacrificing the Anxious Infantry Platoon. That is going to be the exhausted Honored Librarian, because Broderick Worr is in a really difficult situation here where he does not have initiative, and if that Librarian would have gotten an opportunity to attack first, that would have just been absolutely wretched. So Broderick Worr uses Summary Execution. He discards Captain Marcus in order to turn that planet green. He destroys the troop transport, and that is going to be 2 Guardsman tokens generated at that planet. But this to me just seems okay. He's going to use Preemptive Barrage, so 3 of his units are going to have ranged. He could give his Warlord ranged and use a ranged combat turn to retreat, or he could attack with his Guardsman tokens and his Iron Guard recruits, which are all going to be attacking for 2 because this planet is temporarily green. And I guess regardless of what we see, Ragnar can attack for 2, and the Blackmane Sentinel is also going to be able to attack for 2. So that was a hell of a lot of cards being played out by Broderick Worr. That was a lot of discarded units. We've got the Rattling Deadeye, which is going to take a shot first because the initiative is going to be in Jon Yeo's possession, so even though our AM player has more ranged units, that does not change the fact that, initiative plus ranged gets a shot before non-initiative ranged. So a Guardsman token is going to be directing an attack at, I believe, that Blackmane Sentinel. What exactly are we going to see in regard to shields? I can tell that Jon's got a fair few combat tricks in his hand. I can see a Drop Pod Assault. Looks like he's got a Blackmane's Hunt, and he's certainly got a fair few shield cards regardless. So what exactly are we going to see? That's going to be a copy of, it looks like, Iron Halo is going to be discarded. Potentially, Jon is thinking about it. If that Blackmane Sentinel is killed, it's only going to be Ragnar that can take additional attacks. It looks like we've got kind of a aquarium rock on each of those units that were temporarily granted ranged for our viewing convenience and our players' just memory. Okay, no, I guess I was wrong. That's going to be a copy of Frostfang, the signature attachment of Ragnar being discarded as shield. So that Blackmane Sentinel is going to survive, and now it's going to be the Iron Guard recruits being able to attack, and it looks like we've got a second attack incoming from the Guardsmen. So that is indeed going to be a dead Blackmane Sentinel. It looks like Ragnar's got at least 2 resource tokens, so he's going to be able to do that Drop Pod Assault should he decide to do so. And it looks like I just spied in our AM player's hand that he's got a copy of Forward Barracks, which could potentially be just absolutely fantastic for him. So let us see what is going to happen. We've got 1 more outgoing attack valued at 2, and that's going to be 2 points of damage on Ragnar Blackmane. Now it's going to be Ragnar's opportunity to attack, and it looks like he's using Drop Pod Assault, presumably with the hope that he's going to be able to pull another copy of Honored Librarian or Blood Angel's Veteran, just because he's got initiative, and he's going to want to do as much damage as is possible to Broderick to try to maximize the chances of him being able to pin down and bloody the enemy Warlord. We've still got one planet that's yet to be revealed. It could be that healing planet Iridial, but let's see. That'll be the 10th Company Scout being put into play by Drop Pod Assault. That is going to be a bloodied Broderick Worr, so he is going to be a 2/5. He's no longer going to grant any kind of beneficial ability to his guardsmen, to any of the Astra Militarum soldiers. So Ragnar takes a shot himself. He kills the Iron Guard recruits, and then the Sanctioned Psyker takes a swing. That's going to bring us to the end of a combat round. Our planet number, 2 is still green. Note that Summary Execution allowed Broderick to end up drawing a card. Looks like at the end of the combat round there, Ragnar decides to retreat. So now it's just going to be Ragnar. Well, Ragnar's remaining forces are just going to be that 10th Company Scout that has initiative, the Rattling Deadeye, and an Honored Librarian. So looks like the Honored Librarian's going to try to get a guaranteed kill on one of those Guardsman tokens, and then the token remains. I guess it does persist, but the token itself takes a swing of 1, and it does manage to kill that 10th Company Scout. The Rattling Deadeye manages to deal 1 point of damage to that Guardsman token. The Sanctioned Psyker swings for 0, and now at the end of the combat round, I can only imagine that Aaron is going to be retreating with his Guardsman token, because otherwise it just seems silly to throw it away. Looks like he does not decide to do that. Bit of a suboptimal play in my opinion, just because you need not have your units stuck at that planet once Broderick Worr is going to be bloodied, and that Honored Librarian there is going to be able to quite handily kill off that unit, and it looks as though we're in the process of resolving our HQ phase based upon that Honored Librarian being, I guess, currently ready. But Karnath is going to be the battle ability that's being triggered, and that could be a rout. Yes, it's going to be the rout of that Sanctioned Psyker, and Aatrox Prime would have been another option, which would have been potentially reasonable just to get another point of damage on Broderick Worr. But if you can prevent your opponent from getting in a bunch of resources, and it looks like Broderick is maybe, no, okay, I guess he's not actually hurting for resources. Regardless, if you can throw a Psyker into your opponent's HQ, if all of a sudden their Psyker shows up exhausted, it's not committing any command icons to winning command struggles during the command phase, that about sucks. And a 0/4 unit definitely isn't doing a whole hell of a lot. So both of our players have come across 4 resources. They've each drawn 2 cards respectively. Our new 5th and final planet is going to be Ossus 4, that Steel 1 resource planet. Looks like the initiative is going to be once again in the hands of Broderick Worr, in his bloodied hands. Hopefully he can still hold a bolter. He throws out a copy of his signature support, the enormously powerful Forward Barracks, at the end of each and every combat turn. At the end of each and every combat round. That would be overpowered. At the end of every combat round, if you have an AM unit at a planet, you can generate a Guardsman token at that planet, but it's only going to be a 1/2 because Broderick is no longer going to be able to give his beneficial ability to any of these units here. At planet number 2, we've got a copy of Blood Angels Veterans. That's going to be a 3/3 for 3 with a reaction that, upon each and every time it takes a point of damage, so long as it's ready, you prevent the first point of damage. And Planet 2, things are getting actually pretty spicy. That's a Sakhalem Shrine Guard, 1 cost, 1 attack, 1 hit point, 1 command icon. If it's at a green planet, it gets +1 attack as well as +1 hit point, but red is not green, and colorblind or no, I can definitely tell that much. So it is a soldier, it is, Elysian Assault Team eligible to be swapped out, but God, a 1/1 isn't doing a whole hell of a lot, apart from potentially contributing to winning command. And also at planet number 2, we've got a copy of the 0-cost Psyker, the Mystic Warden, a 2-attack, 2-hit point, no command icon unit. That has to be sacrificed upon a battle concluding at a planet where it's residing. And then we've also got a copy of the 3-cost Steel Legion Chimera, so 1 command, 2-attack, 4-hit point vehicle, where each and every time a non-vehicle unit is the target of an attack at its planet, you prevent the first point of damage directed to it. Normally good for keeping Broderick Hale, but it seems like it's a little late for that. Looks like we've got a copy of Blackmane's Hunt, moving Blackmane to planet number 3. We see Blackmane Sentinel being moved to planet number 3, and that is going to be 2 points of damage dealt out onto Broderick Worr, and now he is definitely in danger of suffering a loss via Warlord death. Planet number 1 is going to be a card and a resource to the right for Jon Yeo. Planet number 2 is going to be a couple of resources to the left for Aaron. Planet number 3 is going to be a card and a resource for far, it looks like neither player, because they were tied in regard to command, and initiative, I believe, is going to be in Broderick Worr's possession. So that Blackmane Sentinel is currently exhausted at Planet 3, and I happen to have missed why exactly that is. But Planet number 4 is going to be a resource for John, and Planet number 5, we've got a Rogue Trader, 1 cost, 1 command icon, plus 1 resource bonus. That's going to be 3 total resources to the left for Aaron. But looks like Karnath is going to be captured by Ragnar, and what exactly is he going to decide to trigger? He could do Aatrox Prime to hit those 3 units, like the Mystic Warden, the Sakhalem Shrine Guard, the Steel Legion Chimera, or he could do Yvarn, or he could steal a resource, but Broderick certainly got a large number of resources, and unless John is specifically wanting to use, I guess, unless he's specifically wanting to do a double drop Pot Assault or something, there's not a lot of benefit to that. So that Blackmane Sentinel, it looks like that was maybe exhausted prematurely, because it looks like it took a swing at that Talon Raiders. Or no, I'm sorry, I'm totally wrong. So I still don't know why it's exhausted, but that's going to be the Planet Farron routing that copy of Talon Raiders away from current Planet number 1. So, provided that John, during this following round, can either assassinate Broderick or capture Planet number 1 that has that red material type icon printed upon it, that could be the game for him. Or he could do something a little bit conservative. He could go to Aatrox Prime. Aatrox Prime could blast whatever units end up in Broderick Worr's HQ, and I suppose in addition it'll set himself up very nicely for a victory condition. So this is looking pretty good for Ragnar, even though Ragnar is suffering quite a bit. Broderick Worr takes a swing, and that is a very dangerous move. So if you do not retreat, you are basically just inviting the sweet embrace of death. Ragnar is sitting at 3 hit points, but Broderick Worr is going to be exhausted. That is going to be Ragnar and a Blackmane Sentinel being able to attack. Broderick had better hope to high hell that he has got a handful of shield cards. That is going to be a Blackmane Sentinel swinging. That's going to be Broderick at 1 hit point. That is going to be Ragnar taking a swing, and that is going to be GG right there. So good game. Well played by both of our players, but of course, congratulations to Jon Yeo for managing to pilot Ragnar Blackmane to victory over Aaron Celovsky. So a tremendous thanks to John Gobeil for giving me this footage. A huge shout out to the Tactical Squad podcast just for participating in this game, being the ballers that they are, and of course that is just a spectacularly gorgeous playmat. So well played on part of both of our players. Congratulations again to Jon Yeo. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, if you enjoyed this content, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already, or if you are already subscribed, as ever, you're always encouraged to share this content, because the more people stumble upon these videos, the more people end up being exposed to Conquest. They might give this game a try, enjoy what they experience, join the community, and of course, the greater we are in number, the bigger message we send to Fantasy Flight Games, telling them to continue to develop this fantastic product. If at any point you'd like to get in touch with me, I would encourage you to do so on Facebook or on Twitter, and if you have not engaged with me yet on social media, I definitely recommend you do so. I'm trying to create a bit of a community hub out of the Hive Tyrant channel, and if you've got articles, videos of your own that you'd like me to promote, definitely get in touch. And if you'd like to make like John Gobeil, if you want to send in footage of your own, I'm happy to promote gaming clubs and gaming stores, so definitely get in touch. If you ever want to help support the Hive Tyrant, I would be absolutely honored were you to make a small monetary contribution to my Patreon. Even $1 a month does wonders in helping me to recover some of my file hosting operating expenses, and each additional dollar is only going to be reinvested in improving the already sterling quality of this channel, if I can take a moment to feel proud of myself for once in my life. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and once again, be sure to check back in again soon for much more Conquest LCG content to come.